right, everybody. Welcome to the Most Valuable Podcast. I am Mark Williams with my colleague
Victor Castro.
and we want to thank you again for joining us today on this podcast. Like always, we are going to be giving you a little bit of insight into the world of real estate as two dudes that do real estate for a living, and we want to give you that insight. Today, we are going to talk about something that's been a pressing topic that is really important in this upcoming election. So I'm going to hand it over to Victor to talk about what that topic is.
Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up, Mark? So Prop 33, it's going to be on the ballot this November. And what Prop 33 is doing, it's giving control or rent control limitations over to the cities and counties. And they're now, or at least what it's going to do, it's going to have them propose their own rent control laws, and kind of take it away from the state. So no matter what the state says, cities and counties can do whatever they want.
Okay. Do you know if it's like a county based, or like the county can have a set rules and then the city can have rules on top of that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
So more rules and regulations for, rent. And, there's supporters and there's an opposing group too. I'll keep it real. I oppose this Prop 33.
Yeah.
I'm not voting for it. And the reason for that is because it's going to have the builders, or give builders less motives to be able to build more, more housing. It's going to limit the amount of housing that they're going to be able to build.
Yeah, I think honestly, like me thinking about it, we do have, being in the Bay Area, being a very progressive area, very, liberal state, so to speak. And hey, there's pros and cons to everything, right? Regardless of what, if you're a Democrat, Republican, there's pros and cons to everything, right? At the end of the day, I think we talked about this before. We just want someone that's going to
Make our lives easier.
Right? So being in the Bay Area, and me myself growing up in San Francisco, which probably has the most stricted rental rules probably in the country. I haven't heard of anything worse, because in all honesty, guys, we've all been renters. Some of you listening may be renting right now. Me and Victor have rented before for many years of our lives. And me being a landlord now on top of a homeowner, these rules that are put in place do not benefit anybody. It may seem like it benefits that person that is renting, and in some cases it can, depending on the situation. But ultimately, for every like action, there's a reaction, right? So, for instance, the city of San Francisco has these crazy rental rules, but then they have negative growth in their population. And they're wondering why none of these businesses that built these billion-dollar skyscrapers are keeping them, or are having businesses operate in them. It's because it's a pain in the ass to own real estate in San Francisco and not be able to essentially maximize on your investment as a landlord, right? At least get fair, competitive rates, right? Two, you got to think about it. That's taking money away from the city, right? If it's expensive to live somewhere, that brings a certain demographic to that city. And yes, people get priced out. It's kind of why me and Victor are coming to you live from Concord, California. We don't live in these major metropolitan areas because of pricing, right? And now you're taking money away from this city. Well, look at the city of San Francisco. Ain't doing so hot.
Nope.
Crime's up.
Homelessness
is up. Cleanliness is terrible. Drugs are up. Murders are up. Crime's up. Real estate prices are down. And I recently have done some transactions in San Francisco. And don't get me wrong, there's very nice areas of San Francisco still, right? There's pockets that are still walkable. You can raise your family in. And, the clients I've helped have shopped in these neighborhoods. But, I've helped a client buy like a multi-unit, and the hoops we had to jump through just for her to buy the property and then move into the property that she's spending $2 million on just to get a tenant that was there for a year and a half out was crazy. Financially, the hoops we had to jump through. And for what? Like, yeah, it's not like the dude struggled. The tenant wasn't, the dude couldn't afford $4,000 a month rent. I think he's doing okay for himself. But yet she had to pay almost 20 grand to get him out for her to live in the property that she is buying.
That's, or owns. Or,
She owns it.
right?
Yeah. It's not like she bought it to kick him out. She bought it to live there.
Yeah.
And guess what? He rents it. He shouldn't have any right. Like, he had the opportunity to buy it and he didn't.
There's a reason why the seller was selling it the way it was with the tenant in place.
Yeah.
She didn't want to deal with, or he didn't want to deal with it.
Well, the thing is too, like, the eviction was called an owner move-in eviction. So they have rules. It's not like my tenant was buying it to kick them out and then pretend they were living there and then rent it. No, it was literally she was a rent. She owned some other properties, but in the city of San Francisco, she was a renter. And she had rent control for her property. And she was like, you know what? I find value in owning my own property. So we located a property that had rental potential. It had 3 units in it, 2 legal units and 1 like owner suite. So she was going to live in the top unit, and then she has 2 rental units below to offset the mortgage. This whole house hack thing. Everyone talks about house hacking. Well, that's what we were doing, right?
Right.
You know, because you're spending close to $2 million on a property. You know, your mortgage is depending on how much you're putting down, but you know, you're gonna have like a $10,000 amount mortgage, right? So if I can rent unit B out for $3,500 and I can rent unit C out for $2,500, now she's only coming out of pocket $4 grand to have a penthouse that overlooks, like, the view's dope. Overlooks like where Chase Center and stuff is. And so yeah, that was the whole plan. But this guy that was a day trader that made good money, that was able to rent at $4,000 a month, had a nice car, was doing great for himself, and was on a short-term lease, month to month, was only there for a year and a half. When it was time to say, hey, we're buying this, because of the rules put in place, even though we did everything by the book, it still cost her $20,000 to get him out.
Yep.
And it just left a bad taste in her mouth. Like,
am I doing the right thing?
am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Like, you know, going forward, now she has this property. You know, let's just say she wants to retire and move somewhere. She's going to have second thoughts on,
Absolutely.
do I keep this property and rent it out?
Yeah.
Or do I just sell it and, like, you know, take my earnings that I made money on and just go about it? But in reality, the benefit would be for her to keep the property and rent it out, because that can, like, pay for her living later on in life. But now you put controls on stuff. Well, what's the point in investing in property in that city?
Same thing in Oakland. I had the same situation. I mean, I currently have a listing in Oakland where my client also went through the same thing. Had a tenant that was unwilling to pay any sort of rent at all for 2 years after COVID. And it was just a pain in the ass to kick him out. He didn't want to move out. Did everything that she could, spent all this money also on an attorney to help. And even the attorney sucked. She got nowhere with it until she knocked on the door and begged the dude, and didn't lie, didn't say anything that wasn't true to the tenant. But believe it or not, her story, made the tenant like touch his heart and just said, whatever, let me just move out. And got him out on her own will, like without an attorney's help, and all that money that she spent previous to that went to waste.
Yeah. And then how was the condition? And I know that one, how was the condition of the property when she got it?
It was essentially a homeless living inside of the house. Let's just picture that, a squatter, just completely tearing up the property. She had to invest over $90,000 to get it up, get it to a livable condition to put it on the market.
So the city controlled this dude's rent, this property that she purchased with her late husband.
Yeah.
Right. for their future.
Yes.
So I just want everyone listening to this, like, picture yourself wanting to provide for your family, right? And one of the ways you're providing is through real estate. You want to provide, make sure that your family, you, your significant other, your kids, your parents, your siblings, whatever, always have a place to call home. So you're buying this property knowing that, hey, I'm going to hold on to this property. It's in a great part of Oakland. It's a nice home. It's always going to be like a desirable neighborhood, hopefully. And it's pretty nice. Like the neighborhood's in a good part of town. And, you move on, you're expanding your portfolio, you get someone, you get a tenant to rent it. Oh, they're all happy. You take a deposit. You've been doing them a solid. You only been raising rent a little bit here and there because they're good tenants. Then, COVID happens, and that's for another podcast. We can talk days on that. Well, whatever took place then. And then the state, someone that doesn't even own your property says, hey, guess what? You're not allowed to charge rent. This property you paid your hard-earned cash for, for your family. And what I think people don't realize is that when you have a landlord, that might be their landlord's income. Being a landlord can be a job. Like, that's someone's career. Like, someone buys they work, whatever they did, they bought a portfolio of properties, and now they manage that portfolio, and their salary is your rent. So the state basically said, you can't get paid at your job. And you know what? You can't do nothing about it. And then those cities were like, guess what? Guess what? You can't do nothing about it. So it wasn't just because the people couldn't work and pay the rent. Now the people that own the property, what if that was their only income? What if that was your client's only income for her to eat? But the city says, you know what? No. Okay, now I'll go even a step further. What if your client, the property she was currently living in, maybe she was renting somewhere, and she said, you know what, I can't afford this. I want to go move back to the home I own.
And you can't even move back.
Oh, you can't do it. Sorry. You don't have any rights to the property you own. Some hobos in here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be mean, but like, just, I don't, I hope the guy's situation was good, but I'm just saying the dude's literally in the home illegally and you can't do nothing about it.
Right. Because he has rights, right? It's all about everyone's rights. You don't want to hurt no one's feelings. And I get it, right? Like you said, I get it.
But what's the rights, dude?
But what about my own rights? It's my house. I pay for it.
Yeah.
I legally own this house. So,
I see, this is where I think we really need to look at who we're voting for. And not to make this podcast about politics, but guess what? Elections around the corner. Because why are you putting the lack of government and the lack of resources that my tax dollars are supposed to be paying for? There should be shelters. There should be programs to help someone in those situations. Instead of, hey, you know what? We're not doing anything as a government. You're not seeing what your tax dollars are paying for. But guess what? The home you own, we're going to use that as shelter for people. That's basically what they're doing if you really think about it.
Right.
We're going to subsidize your property to help us look good because we're doing a bad job managing our budget to provide these services for people that really do need help. And I'm not here to say people do not need help. Stuff happens, and it's not always a situation that people ask for. It's not always, the sad part is the people that choose to be homeless, that choose to do drugs, that choose to not contribute to society, give a bad look on those that actually need assistance because they've fallen on hard times.
Yep.
And I'm not here to, judge anybody, right? But this is what our tax money and stuff is supposed to be covering. And yet, I saw this crazy stat, bro. And I know it's going a little bit off topic. 33% of the homeless in America live in California. Just chew on that.
We have one of the biggest populations in the country.
One third. We're also the most expensive state in the country.
Yeah.
So why are we? Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, what are we doing? We're not doing. It's like if a third of the homeless population lives in a state that even people that make a good salary could barely afford, then what are we doing? Like, how are we going to rectify? Oh, because I'm going to build more homes. You can't build 5 million homes a year. So if you're listening to this, Google average rate of homes being built in California. It's not that many homes a year, bro. I think on a good year, we build like 20,000 homes, like statewide.
But how much is the population actually increasing,
Yeah,
right?
well,
It's
California, I
crazy.
think, had finally like a positive growth. It's been negatively growing, but what I'm getting at is we have a housing
Yeah.
shortage anyways.
Yeah.
I think for the next, it's something crazy, the amount of homes that we're short, like 5 million or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know the numbers. Don't hold me to that. But it's a number that is unobtainable.
Yeah.
And we don't have the resources to build them here. We don't have the land. We make it, like you're saying, with all this rent control stuff, we make it a pain in the butt for people to want to invest in the state for stuff like that. Really, what I feel rent control does, it eliminates the single family home.
Yep. We've spoken about that before, but think about it. They really want to make it um like only a thing that the elite can do, right?
Yeah. It eliminates. So in Europe, if you go to Europe, Europe's not big on single family homes. A lot of European nations, there's more renters than homeowners. It's not a dream to own a home, right? And it's so like land's a premium, it's expensive. Um, and that's kind of, if you think about it, look what gets built. So I grew up in like the suburbs of like where I went to high school, South San
Yeah.
Francisco, right? So there's like, if you drive to South San Francisco now, which is a city right by the airport, and they have Oyster Point, which is like the where all the biotech companies are, pharmaceutical companies. If you drive right there, it's called like Airport Boulevard and Grand Avenue. That's like, it used to be old town, small city feel, mom and pop shops, right? You'd have a couple like duplexes and triplexes, just kind of like, you can tell this city was like 100 years old, right? But it was cool. It was clean, whatever. I drove downtown about a month ago. I was out there for something. It's crazy, bro. It's all 6, 7-story luxury apartments.
Yeah.
And like every piece of land that there was a place called South City Car Wash. It's where everyone got their car wash at the corners. Next to it was like a Burger King. Now that corner, the car wash was sold. They sold the land. People probably made bank selling it. And it's like a 7, 8-story like high rise luxury condos. They're just like, there's no point in building homes anymore because these big corporations come and buy the land. They can fund these big projects and then they can make rent because depending on the city, rent control can either be for like apartments, it can be for single family homes, like, or everything. It all depends on like what the city wants. San Jose, there's no rent control on single family homes, but there's rent control on apartments. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know
So,
that.
yeah, so it's like, but why? Why do they have control? Who's feeding these politicians' pockets? Probably the big corporations building the apartment complexes, right? And those apartment complexes make sense because these tech companies, a lot of times, pay for their people to live.
Yeah. Yep.
So they just jam them all in one area. So, I mean, it's crazy, bro. It makes you want to think like, yes, home ownership. Like, I'm trying to build wealth with home ownership, but do I want to buy home number 3 or number 4
In one of those cities.
in my city, in
Yeah.
the city I live?
Yeah.
Even things to me like the home I currently live in. If I ever wanted to like downsize, do I keep it and rent it? Or is my city going to do rent control and just make it
Yeah.
a nightmare
Yeah.
for me?
Imagine if this prop goes through, it gets approved and everyone votes for it. What's going to happen
Yeah.
to Oakley, to Pittsburgh, to Concord?
It's crazy, bro. And I'm not opposed to like having caps on rents. I think, we don't want to take advantage of the situation, right? Like, I don't think I should be able, if I'm renting a home, and let's just say I'm renting it for $3,000 a month, the next year I shouldn't be able to raise someone's rent $6,000. Like, I get that. Like, that makes sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
there should be maybe some type of limitation on how much I can increase the rent. But then again,
Eviction rule, the eviction rules, right?
But then again, like, why? Why? And then, then the other part is like, why is the government telling me what I can do with my own property?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. We already have like crazy limitations. Now they want to add more, which is insane, man.
I mean, it's kind of what we talked about the last couple podcasts ago about the real estate rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's private enterprise. So why is the government telling us how to conduct our own business? That we're not doing anything illegal. I can see like rules and regulations as far as like, you know, uh, what is it?
There we
Rules and regulations about,
go.
you know, fair housing, right? Like not discriminating and stuff like that. But you shouldn't tell me how much I should be able to charge. I
No.
don't work for the government. Like,
Right.
so why are you telling me how much I should charge for my house? I didn't know my house was owned by the
Well,
government.
I mean, not necessarily telling us how much we should charge, but just like trying to implement something to make it harder for us to conduct business.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy, man. I don't know, man. It's what do you think is next? Do you think people will sway towards it or against it?
Communism is next. That's where they tell you what to do, when to do, who does what, how
Mhm.
much everyone gets paid. I mean, I don't know, man. It's because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think it's gonna be very like city specific because there are cities that have more renters than homeowners. Um, yeah, it's a very, I don't want to say it's a touchy subject, but like I look at home ownership, and if I'm becoming a landlord, I look at it as a business. Like, look, I got a heart. I get it. I understand. Like, I have a rental. Like my tenant, he's moving out in November. Like he got orders from the Air Force to go somewhere else.
The one in Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when he moves out, like, look, he's my client. Like, any issues with the property, like I tell him, reach out to me. I get it fixed right away. I got it fixed right away. Like he's my client. I want to make sure that he is happy in the household. And then hopefully he holds his end of the bargain and pays the rent on time, which he does. And hopefully my property is in good condition. We did take a deposit. So, I still run it as a business. So I have to, we're going to do a walkthrough, make sure the property is how he got it. He got it brand new. So if stuff needs to be done to get it back to that condition, then it's coming out of his deposit. But there's also a risk where like his deposit doesn't cover everything. Then who pays for it? I do, right? So if you're telling me I'm only limited to the amount I can charge, then like what if I don't have enough in reserve to cover like the damages he does? Then I didn't make anything on the property. I didn't buy the property to lose money, right? So, and when I get the next tenant, um, I'm raising the rent. Plain and simple. It's a business to me.
Yeah.
Like year lease, cool. After a year, you want to go month to month, cool. Maybe we'll raise the rent a little bit. Or you want to sign another year? All right, well, we're going to see what rental rates are at that time, and we're going to make the proper adjustments, and hopefully you like it. If not, you can go move somewhere else. I'll get another tenant. Like you have to treat it as a business. Now, would I like a long-term tenant that like take cares of the property and yes and no. I want them to take care of the property as is, but it's still not their property, like you're renting it. Like how you got it is how it should be. I don't need you adding stuff to it or anything like that. And I do a video about that.
Yeah.
It's a tip I give. But pay your rent, keep it how it was,
Yeah.
and when you give it back, it should be how it was, right? But yeah, I am thankful for those that do keep the property in good shape. But I mean, it's just like if you lease a car, if you give it back all tore up, like guess what? You're gonna get charged.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we differentiate like things.
It's the same thing, and that's great insight, Mark, because a lot of people that are thinking about investing in real estate that, don't know these things, like it's great insight for them to understand that's what you're getting yourself into. Be ready to come out of pocket if things break down. Be ready to treat it as a business because if you don't, you can get bit in the butt.
Dude, I hear it all the time. I'm very fortunate to have a group of friends that kind of like, being a little bit later on in life, we've all made like a lot of us have made investments and have rentals or inherited rentals, right? I talk to my friends all the time. about, hey, how's your tenants, and hey, what do you charge them? And look, I'm not here to tell them how to run their business, but I always tell them, like, treat it like a business. Some of them, oh, we've had this tenant for 10 years and she's great and he's great. And
Great to build
okay, I
relationships.
go, what's market rate
Right.
on the property? 2,500. What are they paying rent? 1,400. You're losing out $1,100 a month. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
That's what is that? That's over $13,000 a year. You're giving someone a $13,000 discount because what? They've lived there for a long time.
Because you have a good relationship with them.
And I get it. Your property's appreciating, and I get all that, and I get it. Like, you have a heart, and I have a heart too. And I'm not saying don't hook this person up because you want to and because they're a good tenant, but be smart about it. Like, you should be raising their rent every year.
No.
Because you can't fear them leaving. If they don't find value in that property at that price point, someone else will. That's how you have to look at it. That's how I look at it. Like, from a landlord perspective.
Yes.
Because that's why you're buying the property. To make money. For the property to pay. You came out the down payment, right? If you're buying an investment, 20, 25, 30% out of pocket. So let's just say on a $1 million home, you're out of pocket $250,000 of your hard-earned money. Then you're going to fix the property, make sure the property's in a great condition for your tenant. And then tenant lives there. You still are paying mortgage and property tax, right? Hopefully the rents cover all of that. Anything happens with the home, water heater breaks, who pays for it? You do, the owner, right?
Yep.
And then you're going to hook them up on a discount? Why? I don't know. I mean, when you just take a step back and take the personal side out of it and look at it as a business, I think you would make better decisions on how to operate. Doesn't mean you can't, like, hey, I really like you as a tenant. Market rates haven't gone up that much. I'll just keep your rent. Let's do another lease for a year. Let's keep your rent at what it's at, right? And we'll revisit in 12 months. Maybe you're hooking them up. Maybe you're saving them a couple $100.
Yeah.
Right? But, don't. You got to look at the big picture. $13,000. Let's just say, $13,000. That's a lot of money. That can buy 2 more homes. That's 2 more mortgage payments. Like, $13,000, like, you can take that money and go invest it in something else.
Absolutely.
Or cover your own expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, bro.
No, and in the Mark, it's crazy to
I can talk about this all day.
Yeah. No, for sure. There's some people out there that have tenants in place without a lease, without a contract. I talk to them all the time.
It's crazy.
Hey, where do you rent? Oh, I live in the single family home in whatever, right? Whatever city. And, oh, when is your lease up? I don't have a lease. It's just word of mouth. It's like, what? Like, I can't wrap my head around that. Like,
and then just be protect. Let's take a step back. We were all tenants before. As a tenant, have a lease. Because not every city, we're talking about the extremes here. We're talking about San Francisco and Oakland. Like, these are the extremes. Concord, there's no rent control. And you don't have a lease, guess what? You get a knock on your door. You got to go. Protect yourself as a tenant. Like, you should have some type of contract, right? Like, hey, we have a contract for 2 years.
Even if you're just renting a room.
At this rate, protect yourself too. Like, I'm not sitting here, I'm looking at things from the perspective of the landlord. From the perspective of the tenant, one, just because your rent's cheap doesn't mean it's a good rental. Like, what's the condition of the property? How's dealing with the landlord? Does stuff get fixed? Do you find yourself coming out of pocket to fix things that they should be fixing because you're renting the property, right? What is your lease? What's your protection in staying there? How long do you know you're going to be there? There's a lot of, like, if you want to go tenant side, I talk another 30 minutes about that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm talking right now, we're talking how this is affect what we help people do, which is buy. We don't do property management.
Yeah.
We help you buy and sell properties, right?
Yep.
So for those that come to us that want to buy an investment, we're giving you the insight, the actual facts right now of what you should be thinking about when you want to buy that investment property.
100%.
But we could, if you're a tenant right now and you got some questions, like I'm not a lawyer, we're not lawyers, you can always reach out. We'll give you from the landlord perspective, like what you probably should be thinking of as like a tenant, right? Because you still can negotiate your rents and stuff like that. And you should be protecting yourself too, right? And if you have rights, yeah, okay, use them. I'm not saying you shouldn't use them. What I'm getting at is from what we're talking about is as owners, now you have rent control. How does that affect you as the owner of the property?
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
Crazy, dude. I mean, the world we live in nowadays, it's like, and it's state specific. So like my rental's in Texas. You don't pay your rent, I kick you out in 3 days.
That's the rule?
Yep.
Definitely not
Sheriff's at your door. Get out.
Definitely not the rule here.
There's some states. I have a friend that owns in Arkansas. If you don't pay your rent, it's a felony. You get a felony for not paying your rent. You think he gets his rent paid?
Oh shit. I'm sure.
You get him getting that? So like we can help you with investments in other states. We have a network of colleagues that we work in all 50 states. So if you're listening to this and you want to figure out some other investment strategies and maybe the Bay Area, like hit us up. We can help you out. We can help you out. We partner with tons of people, and yeah, like when I bought the one in the San Antonio area, I partnered with one of our partner agents, and I had them help me personally.
Yep.
Because they knew the ins and outs of the rules out there, and they have the feet on the ground as far as like great neighborhoods and stuff like that. And we worked together and got my property right. And I've sent 3 people to that person already, and 2 people have bought.
Awesome.
So like there's other options outside of California.
Yeah, 100%.
So, some states, I would say more of the red states tend to be more landlord friendly.
How many agents do we have now at Real?
I think it's like 25,000, right?
And growing.
Yeah, in all 50 states and 4 of the 5 Canadian provinces.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool having a network of like-minded people to be able to leverage as resources. But man, we talked 30 minutes on that one proposition. So, rent control, it's something to really think about.
100%.
Something to really think about. And if you are a renter and you're listening to this, or you're watching us on, IG right now on the live stream, or you look at this on YouTube later, or you can find us at all where you get all your podcasts from. Just look up Most Valuable Podcast, MVP Real Estate, and you're a renter right now. Maybe you sit back and go, you know what, Mark and Victor, I don't like my situation. I think I'm paying too much, or what I'm paying. Or maybe I'm getting a discount, but this place I'm living in, the landlord doesn't take care of it, and I don't want to fix it. It's not my property. Might be time for that home ownership.
Especially been renting for a long time, like I did before I bought my house.
Everyone rented a long time. I helped my brother, bring this personal. I helped my brother move, him and his wife and 2 of his kids, because the other ones are adults, move out to Henderson in Nevada. And they were renting so they had a landlord. So they were renting from this lady. The house was on their trust. This lady and her husband were smart, and they bought a lot of houses in Pacifica, right? Like, so they were renting this one house. It was like $3,500 a month, little 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,000 square foot, right by Rockaway Beach. And the lady owned like 5 houses in a row, like his house and 3 houses to the left and like 2 houses to the right. They were all owned. They were all rentals. So think about it. Like her average rent was probably like $4,000.
Wow.
She's making $20,000+ a month just on paid for.
Yeah.
Because they bought these properties, when they were built, 60s and 70s, right? Paid off. Then she had a bigger property come up, and she was cool. My brother was like, hey, like this property is too small for us. And she was like, yeah, I have this bigger one. And he went to the bigger one. And he went to the property, and like part of the deal was like, he painted it. He kind of fixed it up. But I was telling him, like, you're renting this. Why are you doing this? He's like, well, I got to live here. And, we figured out. He rented from this person for like 10 years. Right? Let's just say average of like $4,000 a month rent for 10 years. You know,
Four,
that's
four,
$48,000 a
yeah.
year, $480,000, and then he bought his house in Henderson for like I think they got it for like 410.
That's
So he would have a paid off house right now.
yeah.
If you think about it.
And that's my perspective. That's what
Yeah.
that's what I said, that like you can rent forever. Like imagine my mom rented for 20 years at that same location. We probably paid for the mortgage
He
for
paid the
entire
house
mortgage.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fourplex.
Yeah. No, it's paid off.
Paid off.
Her one unit paid the whole fourplex off.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you gotta look at it.
Yep.
Paid off. And he says it all the time. He's like, man, I did the math, dude. I bought this house cash that I currently now I have to pay for the next 30 years.
Yep.
And it's like, well, if you kind of have that same mentality of, hey, if you aggressively pay this, you can pay it off, right? Or you use that same mentality that your landlord did. You say, hey, now you're in this home. You got it for a good price, got a lower interest rate. You made the improvements on it. You know, you lowered your cost of living, save that extra money, live in this house he's in year 2 now, right? Live here for a couple years, 5, 6 years. Put yourself in a position to rent this out and then go buy your next home. And then this home pays for itself.
Yep.
That's
the way to do it.
That's
man.
the way to do it, man. But yeah, when you really put things in perspective, it's crazy. It really is, like this whole control stuff. I don't know.
Vote no on Prop 33.
Mark and Victor do not endorse Prop 33. You should not either.
MVP
Even
approves of this message.
Even as a, if you're sitting here and look, it's all lighthearted. Our opinion is just an opinion, right?
Yeah.
That's why we throw this podcast. It's just our opinion. Doesn't mean we're right. Doesn't mean we're wrong. We're comfortable with people having opinions too. Like I said, I think constructive conversation is what's lacking in this society. You're either right or you're wrong. It's always the extremes.
It's always
right?
an argument, right?
It's always an argument. It shouldn't be an argument. There's point and views to every side.
Presidents actually used to hug each other and almost kiss each other before they went on a Anyway, that's another story. But
yeah, it's crazy now.
It's crazy, man.
And it's just one of those things. Like you got to look at it. There's always two sides to a story. That's what I always say. It's two sides to the story. I think things can get really granular and it can go on like a case by case basis, but the more control we give the government, the less freedom you have.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, bro.
Yeah, plain and simple. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And the whole state and government, like that whole thing, it just passes the burden. Basically, it's essentially what happened during COVID when, our president at that time was like, I'll let the states and cities decide what they want to do. They're kind of passing the burden on. Like, no, that's a time where you need leadership. We elect people to be leaders and guide us, man or woman. That's what you're running for. Not to go, oh, hey, I'm going to run. I'll let the states decide. Why don't you decide? Tell the states what they need to be doing. How are we going to solve the housing problem in America? Don't it's up to the states. You're just kind of like, you get what I'm getting at?
They don't want to take charge and they don't want to deal with it. That's the easiest way to deal with it. It's not dealing with it.
Yeah,
right?
you just pass it on to somebody else, right? No, own up to it, figure it out. I think, me personally, if I was elected president, Mark, what year is it? Mark running in 2028. If I was elected president, I think to help with the housing, I think we need to be more open-minded. Let's spread, I feel a lot of the housing problems, and not just pertain to the state I live in, it's the concentration of the amount of people in a certain area, right? And we're starting to see these super regions now. Look at Northern California. It's like starting to expand, right? Central Valley's getting busier. Sacramento, like it's blurred, right? So
Just look at how much traffic we see increasing
So
on the freeways.
let's okay, obviously it's super expensive to build more homes in California. So what are some states that can use population growth? And what incentives can we offer to have builders build here and entice populations to move to these areas? I mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, there has to be
If someone was
good paying jobs and
like, are we not incentivizing businesses? Let's incentivize businesses to move to certain states where the cost to build homes is cheaper.
oh
Hey,
wow,
guess what?
that wasn't rocket science.
Hey, guess what? Okay, it's not by the beach. Hey, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
You know, sacrifices have to be made. I know a ton of people that would sacrifice and go buy a home if they can afford it on a normal salary.
Yep.
They wouldn't care as long as the state is, it's in, main things are gonna be like schools, safety. Okay, well, in these neighborhoods that are economically less, right? Why are we not subsidizing those cities that have more police, better schools? You get what I'm getting at? Like, the reason some of these areas are so expensive is because it's the top rated schools and they're safe because they have because the money that's in these neighborhoods has the resources to like provide these civil services to make the experience of living better. And then the underdeveloped areas, they don't get the same resources. Like it's not evenly spread.
Yep.
Why don't we evenly spread it out? Just saying, bro.
It's not rocket science, man. It really isn't rocket science.
I mean, you can even go like the microcosm to like the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Like in Contra Costa County where we live. Lafayette's a whole lot nicer than Antioch. But Antioch's nice. There's some great homes, but they don't have the resources. They don't have enough cops. The schools are underfunded. Like, I'm not saying for people that live in Lafayette to pay for Antioch. What I'm saying is we all pay taxes to the state and to local governments and to the county. Like, why is this not being distributed more evenly, or areas that need more assistance to get up to par are being helped out more?
I mean, hey, let's talk about Oakland real quick. City transfer tax and all that,
Highest transfer tax in the Bay Area, Oakland and Richmond.
Yeah.
Two of the highest crime rate cities in the country.
How does that make any sense?
In the country. Highest property taxes, highest taxes when exchanging real estate, have the highest crime rates, not just in the state, in the country.
It's pretty mind-boggling, bro.
Where's that money going, bro?
Yeah, man. It definitely not to, where it's supposed to be. Oh, maybe in the hills of Oakland.
I miss crime up there too.
Yeah. But definitely not in the, in the main parts of Oakland, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But man, 43 minutes just like that. Boom.
Yeah.
When you're passionate about something, when you really have an opinion, that time just flies when we talk, bro. Every podcast, as we keep doing this, I feel like we're just getting more and more
comfortable
and just letting like ourselves look. We're not doing this podcast to like this is just us, like you guys getting the inside of us and like our perspective on things. Doesn't mean we're right. If you have a different perspective, leave it in the comments. We'd love to spark up a constructive conversation, hear all sides, and then even if your opinion doesn't change, that's fine. That's okay.
Ultimately, it's about finding solutions.
It's all about finding solutions. I would say at the end of the day, we all have the common goal of just having a better life for everybody.
100%.
Right? Cool. So with that, like always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. YouTube, all major podcast platforms. You can find us at the Most Valuable Podcast under MVP Real Estate. And with that, we look forward
to winning with you.